faster performance, intuitive design, smoother user experience, high quality stability that allows us to now bring this level of innovation at a velocity that we believe is going to be unmatched.
Hey, this is Dave Almy of ADC Partners, and every once in a while we like to circle back with someone who's been on the show before. And today that's going to be Peter Frintzilas, the CEO of TeamSnap. And TeamSnap, as you probably remember or you've probably experienced, is the go-to online application and mobile app for people who are deeply involved in youth sports, right? If you've got kids who play sports, you're probably using TeamSnap, right, for scheduling and so forth and things like that. You're about to use it for a whole lot more because today, TeamSnap is launching TeamSnap ONE, which vastly expands the capabilities and service related to what TeamSnap does. And so we're able to catch up with Peter and get a little bit of insight into what that's going to mean, what it's going to look like, what the impact is going to be for families, teams, sponsors, leagues that use TeamSnap and or planning to do so in the near future. So sit back, get your earbuds locked in your ears, and find out what's next for TeamSnap and TeamSnap ONE. So I want you to spill every corporate secret you guys have now. Because clearly it's a big deal, right? For both the company and the youth sports market. So let's begin by, can you kind of talk about what led to this moment? What was the market demanding, and how did you want TeamSnap to respond to that moment?
Dave, again, thanks for having me, and always good to see you. First and foremost, I mean, this has been the vision that we've had for TeamSnap for the last 4.5 years since I've stepped into this role, and we take TeamSnap through this next phase of its growth overall, and it's always been with a single vision to build one single platform to connect every aspect of the youth sports season. And so with the release of TeamSnap ONE, we have satisfied that vision in spades. And this really is a manifestation of a number of different years of both investment organically, acquisition of Mojo Sports that we did about 2 years ago, and bringing all of the best of technologies together in one platform, first of its kind, unique end-to-end platform that's delivering kind of the ability to power every part of the youth sports season. And what do I mean by that? This is the first platform that fully integrates everything that a sports organization, a club or league needs to run their business or their organization, from registration, rostering, scheduling, payments, next-gen communication, to everything that the coaches need to manage their team, kind of pulling on that thread of communication further into premium expert coach and training development content that we've done in partnership with many of the professional leagues, all the way through what the parents and ultimately the families and the fans want, which is technology around in-game live video streaming, highlight creation, the ability to really make the game fun for the kids that are playing the sport. And so that end-to-end single platform is one of its kind in the space, right? We're really focused on trying to bring together all the various disparate systems that we see from many of our competitors into a single experience for all the stakeholders that are playing the game.
I mean, it's funny because I have a personal experience with this, right? Because way back in the day when I still had more hair and it was darker in color, I actually started a lacrosse club, right? And as this individual who you go and you start the lacrosse club, you do it for the reasons that, you love the sport and you want the kids to have this opportunity to do it. But very, very quickly, it becomes something incredibly complex. And as my very patient spouse will say, who eventually became the chief operating officer of said club, you get in over your head on a lot because this is complex stuff. So by bringing it all together, you're sort of actualizing all the things that folks need to do in order to make that experience useful, simple, manageable for people who have passion, but maybe not all the tools and skills and time to be able to take it to the level that they want to.
And Dave, you're hitting it right on the head, which is the balance of next-gen innovation with the simplicity of you guys running your club, having just done this for the first time, getting into an environment that parents have high expectations. You have a high expectation for what your organization should be. And the burden of trying to stack together a number of different point solutions to help build that technology infrastructure that you had no intention of building, but you quickly get into it because you realize you have a service over here for registration. You have a service over here for back office management. How am I going to communicate to my team? How am I going to ensure that the quality of the coaching that is taking place on the field, there's a level of standardization so that every team and every player is getting the experience that you want to deliver? And then ultimately, how do you continue to make sure that those families are coming back? And that's where we do believe like video streaming and things that really help to extend the value and the enjoyment of the game are going to be a huge uplift for this market. And it took us so long to do this because we started ground up.
Yeah.
Right. Because you can say, hey, I'm going to go build a new platform. And every single one of our competitors have done it. Everybody's got different point solutions. You put together like a single sign-on skin, a pretty website on top of it. But we built a reimagined architecture ground up.
You really got into the guts of the thing.
Faster performance, intuitive design, smoother user experience, high quality stability that allows us to now bring this level of innovation at a velocity that we believe is going to be unmatched.
Because when we first spoke, I feel like you were in the midst of this, because that was about a year and a half ago. And I look back on our conversation, and you described TeamSnap at that point in time as more or less a utility app, right? Where's the field? Where's the schedule? Basically, as we just talked about, the mechanics of the youth sports experience. And you recognize, I'm quoting you here, like that there's a huge appetite around media and content to help those families save their memories and engage with each other. So does this then represent, does TeamSnap ONE represent that moment where TeamSnap transitions away from utility and becomes this total youth sports experience for families and teams and sponsors?
100%. We have jumped into what we would consider much more the lifestyle and video streaming media space, right? And we did that with the Mojo acquisition, but the reality is we were running two platforms at that point. And at the point at which we spoke, we were still exploring how are we going to take the best of the utility that is necessary to run a team, run an organization with the incredible mobile first workflows and user experience that the Mojo team had developed, with the level of media focus that Ben Sherwood brought over from Disney and making the enjoyment of the game that much more fun. And we have now come with velocity right now into what I believe is a $7 to $10 billion video streaming market for youth sports that not a lot of people are talking about right now. Right. And we start
when you say $7 to $10 billion, they're going to start talking about it more.
That's the eyeballs, right? I mean, you got over 50 million, well over 50 million youth sport participants in the US. You then think about how many parents, fans, the extension of that at a consumer subscription, digital subscription level. That market size is large, and it is large when you have the distribution power. And that's why we've always been excited and so bullish around how do we take the 15-year legacy of TeamSnap with this mobile platform. We go build all of the tools that the clubs and leagues really need to operate their own businesses. But then we bring in the next gen mobile experiences, and we've rebuilt a full streaming infrastructure to be able to support that, along with all of the architectural changes that we've made and how we approach our data, which is also going to open up accelerated AI innovation relative to highlight creation and other things. And, we believe not only have we had kind of one of the blue chip leading businesses in this space, but we're about to take it to another level.
You have about 30 million users, as we talked about. The market is just enormous. And it's obviously a very compelling audience for marketers, right? We've talked about end users. We've talked about clubs and streamlining that experience for everybody. But as you talk about, as content and media becomes so much more integrated into the app, how does TeamSnap ONE create new opportunities for all the sponsors out there and all the marketers out there who are looking at what is a vast market and one that shows, frankly, no slowing down at all, even with the economy doing crazy things right now?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would say the youth sports sponsorship opportunity has everyone's become very warm to it, and you're seeing whether it be our competitors or new entrants pop up left and right.
Yep.
Because of the level, when you have the scale and distribution, being able to bring a national brand that has a local value proposition into the community, getting that local presence associated with the most emotional times for a youth sport family, right? The kids are on the field, on the court, on the rink during that week. We say all the time, every weekend across the US is Super Bowl weekend. And so how do you allow a large national brand like a T-Mobile, like a Marriott, where the value proposition, it's a national company, but the value proposition is, do you know the local T-Mobile store? Do you know the local property that you're going where your tournaments are? And, we feel incredibly proud to be able to partner with these big brands to then also not only bring that message, but more importantly, bring real dollars and subsidies into the youth sport communities. And so we're approaching $20 million in direct give back that's been facilitated through our platform. That's almost $20 million of hard money coming in from these big brands to go help with season fees, equipment, uniforms, warm-ups, field uptake. And that kind of reciprocal value proposition where the brand is able to align themselves with this emotional connection with the family and the organizations are able to take advantage of the subsidies coming in. That's a very unique you're in the space. Like that's a very unique opportunity for a marketer to be able to take advantage of.
I don't know many marketers who aren't like, oh gosh, I'd really love to figure out a way to access the youth sports market, but I defy you to try to find one that's more fractured or splintered or decentralized in order to try to figure out how to do that. So that's where TeamSnap ONE in particular can really start paying the dividends, because you're not only, like we talked about, it's not just utility anymore. It's content, and it's content that drives emotion. So that's the kind of thing that marketers, I feel like, are really going to resonate with here.
Yeah, and you're hitting two parts, right? The splintered, fragmented, hyper local complexities of youth sports creates an initial barrier. That's why, like, the better our software business does, whether it's sports organizations coming on that want to be sponsored or sports organizations coming on, thereby bringing more parents on, and we're over 30 million users at this point, and that distribution power, whether that be eyeballs, whether that be consumption of video, whether that be consumption of commerce, that again, that reciprocal relationship, all of these different pockets of our business, whether it's been the technology or how we're bringing the relationships of the youth sport ecosystems and stakeholders together, are all interconnected. And now at TeamSnap ONE, we've already proven out with the partnership with Mojo 2 years ago and bringing a lot of the coach development content that was done in partnership with the majority of the pro leagues. There is an appetite for that, right? And being able to use our distribution power to bring that highly produced content that is ultimately benefiting the experience of the kids on the field and the experience of the families with better coaching, that's a win-win. And now you start to layer in a lot of the user-generated content and further opportunity through live streams, whether it's pre-roll, post-roll, positioning of sponsorships on scoreboards. That just all comes together, right?
Well, it starts getting more sticky too, doesn't it? Right? I mean, because the standpoint is like, like as a utility app, it's like, okay, well, there's the field, and I'm done. I'm moving on to the next thing. Versus, and you're done. You start getting into the scroll.
Yep, you start to get into the feed, right, and the highlights with that drive engagement. It also drives much more of the kind of the social network that we've been sitting on, and being able to leverage the social graph, because of it's not just the community, it's the club, it's the team. And so when you start to kind of allow and facilitate the sharing of memories across those different groups, and most importantly, build the level of privacy and security controls to allow the users to have preference on whether or not they want any type of information, video, photo, media being shared, that in of itself is a significant investment. But when you can do that and get it right, we start to think we are confident that this really starts to exponentially, increase our growth trajectory.
So now you released TeamSnap ONE early to a few clubs. I get those, the lucky clubs who were able to really dive in early on. Was there anything that surprised you about the way that they either adopted it or how they ended up using the product that you went, oh, I didn't even see that one coming? Like that's a different way to do it.
To your point, we already have a couple hundred clubs that are on TeamSnap ONE. We've run a very structured kind of alpha beta process through the last 6 months. We have over, I think it's 10,000 plus users at this point have downloaded our new app and are actively using that app. On the positive front, I think where we are most pleasantly surprised is the adoption of the newer media tools, specifically video streaming. Also, a lot of the next gen just chat tools that we've layered in, simple stuff like polling, like different ways to get feedback from the team. We had very aggressive adoption metrics and our own kind of objectives of running that phased process. And we have well surpassed all of those. And that is really where we believe we've really gotten this right. We believe there's product market fit for the various stakeholders that we've talked about. And I can tell you from developing what is essentially a multi-sided platform, that's not easy, right? When you have various stakeholders with very different needs throughout the course of a season. And we're doing this while we're maintaining a business of 30 million plus users on our classic business. So, take credit to the team.
Piece of cake, man. No big deal.
This is had not been for the faint of heart. I've started a few of our recent board meetings with that statement. But we've
why do we decide to do this again?
Well, it's the opportunity we have here, right? And being in the space for as long as we have one of the most trusted brands, recognizable brands in the space, and we've got to maintain that level of trust and confidence through this. But we owe it to the users that have been and our customers who have been so loyal to us to bring the next leading innovation into the market, and it was our right to do so.
All right, so clearly there's a lot going on with the launch of TeamSnap ONE. Is there any part of the release that you in particular are particularly excited to see how people adopt it, like how it's going to be used? Is there anything that you're using with your kids? Because your kids are all ice hockey players, right?
That is correct, amongst other sports, but primarily in ice hockey. I was actually at the rink last night, like up in one of the restaurants and filming the practice to see how the clipping on the highlights would work.
Your own beta.
I think, exactly. No, but it's real, right? I mean, and look, I am representative of the majority of our team, right? We are all either young parents or parents of kids that have just kind of phased out and aged out of the youth sports cycle, but all of us have such an emotional tie to this space.
Yeah.
And so the ability to come to work every day, building an incredible product for an incredible market that we are a part of, and that I can see the smile on my kid's face when he comes off the ice and be like, hey, Rome, like, check out what I just filmed for you. And I stitched together these couple highlights. And, that to me brings real joy. And to the question you just asked me, that to me is what I'm most excited about, is being able to get this in the hands of all the parents that I see at 6 a.m. at the rink on the weekends and be like, hey, this is what we released, and, excited for everybody to start enjoying it.
Pete Frintzilas, the release of TeamSnap ONE represents a big moment for the company. So good luck over the next coming months as it rolls out and more people get their hands on it and begin to experience it. I just am looking forward to where the sports business podcast feature will sit inside TeamSnap.
We got to talk about that. I think we have the opportunity to bring a whole new form of media library and distribution into our app, right? And we'll continue to talk through that, Dave, for sure.
Hey, Pete, great to see you. Good luck, and I'll look forward to hearing about future success when we check in next year for TeamSnap 2.
Yeah, we're moving quick, man. So it'll probably be something big next year. We got a lot more milestones coming up.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. As always, enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, good to see you.